But man, so sticking with basketball, last week the NBA introduced a new in-season tournament where teams can win what is known as the NBA Cup and also win money. Prizes vary based off of where you place. If you win, I think it's $500,000 for everybody that's on the winning team, and then it falls from there. Six, what's your thoughts on this, man? This new tournament that's been proposed and that's going to take place starting next year.
So when we first talked about this early in the week, bro, I didn't understand why they would do it. To be perfectly honest with you, why would you have a beginning of the season tournament and then have the playoffs, which is the end of the season tournament? Why would you have this, right? But then I got to researching it, and when they describe what the tournament is supposed to do, then I was like, okay, I kind of see why they would do this, because it's basically to bring some so number one, so the players can't coast through the first part of the season. They have something to play for. You know what I'm saying? They're playing for their team, they're playing for this money, they're playing for this cup, so they have something to actually play for. And then also for the teams to not coast through the first part of the season and then try to turn it on at the end of the season. They want the whole season, all 82 games, to be exciting for the entire season. But these games still go towards the 82 game season. So you just doing this to keep the excitement of the game going. That's basically what they're doing.
That's the part that's the part that had me scratch my head. If we're being honest, it's going to be a tournament in the season, but then those games still go towards the regular season, which affects how teams place in the postseason. Huh?
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. But then you take it, so you got 30 teams and you take 5 pots of 6 and you put in 6 pots of 5.
Right by that base, bro.
Pardon the interruption. But you got 6 pots of 5 teams, and you just basically mixing them up based upon, where you place the following season from pot 1 being the best teams out of those 5, and then 2 to 5 being the worst, going down to the worst teams of the 5, and you just put them in a pot, and they're supposed to play against each other for, I think they said 22 games. To me, it don't make sense. Siri, anybody talking to you? I'm talking about basketball here. Siri, stop messing with me. But anyway, to me, it don't make sense, bro. I don't see this being, because people are only going to watch during the knockout round anyway. Like, to be perfectly honest with you, knockout round and then the quarterfinals and the finals, or the quarter semi and the finals, and people are going to watch it exactly how they watch basketball anyway. Because I usually don't watch NBA basketball till the playoffs start anyway. To be perfectly honest, I might catch a game when LeBron is playing, or I might catch a game here or there, but I'm not a connoisseur of NBA basketball. I don't take it in as much as I probably should, since we have this podcast now, which I'm probably going to end up changing in the future. But I don't watch basketball. I don't watch NBA basketball for the simple fact that I think college basketball is way more exciting. And NBA basketball, to me, don't get exciting until it's the end of the year, when they're trying to get their placing for the playoffs, and they get into the playoffs. And now they're playing for that championship. They're playing for that coveted championship, the NBA the World Championship. So I mean, I don't think it's going to bring too much more attention to it, to be perfectly honest, until the knockout rounds and the finals start. But I mean, I guess it could be something that could bring awareness to the NBA. What you think, D-Lo?
So when I first saw this, I was like, what is the purpose of this? Why are they going to have an in-season tournament? But then the more I read about it, the more I looked at other documents that the NBA's released, I know exactly why they've done this. So the reason that this is a thing now, one, I was about to say David Stern, but Adam Silver has long wanted to have some type of tournament that reflects the tournaments that go on in Europe with soccer and those various leagues over there. Secondly, the NBA also recently proposed and I think released a collective bargaining agreement, which says that if players don't play 65, at least 65 games, they can no longer be in contention for postseason awards. So, with that being said, the NBA is trying to incentivize with this tournament. They're trying to incentivize players to no longer load manage, and they're trying to incentivize them to play throughout the season, like you mentioned. So, give a little bit of excitement early on or earlier on in the season. So, they with that incentivize or those incentives in place, they also know exactly what you just said. A lot of NBA fans don't watch until the end of season when players actually put their all into winning and not just coasting through the season. So, how do we get them to watch throughout the season or earlier in the season and then are excited for the playoffs? Oh, let's put a tournament at the beginning of the season. That's what will happen if we incentivize the players to actually give their all money and then also a trophy, a championship. Then they'll definitely play and be a part of that, and that'll get the fans to come to be more involved with the game. So yeah, when I first read this, I was like, why would they do that? But then when you do a little bit of digging on it, you understand the thought process there. The question that I have is, okay, for the first couple of years, I have two questions, but I'll start with this question. For the
Mm-hmm.
first couple of years, the tournament is probably just going to be seen as, okay, everybody's going to, the average fan is probably not going to be too thrilled with that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But when it starts to pick up steam, because it will, as you see the players really get involved in it and the games really start to mean things, you get a better outcome, better performances during those games. Which championship will be mean more? Will it be the postseason championship or the in-season championship?
That's a good question, D-Lo, because the NBA championship, although it comes with its accolades, what I'm saying, you're a league champ, you're a world champ. It goes on your resume, as it goes towards your legacy, as being one of the world's greatest on this team every single year. But with the incentives that you're getting for the in-season tournament, I can see where you can draw that parallel to say, okay, if every player on the team gonna get 500K, do I value that 500K more than just being seen as an NBA champion? Because you're not getting those same incentives with the playoffs, with the finals championship. You're not getting those same
They get
incentives.
money. They get
Oh,
money.
did they
It
really?
might not be that. Yeah, they might not get that much, but they definitely get bonuses. Every
Oh, okay, well,
sport
yeah,
does that. Even in the
everybody's
playoffs, you
contract
get those
has an
bonuses.
incentive in their contract saying if you win the championship, you get this amount of
No,
money.
no, no, no. You get bonuses from the team. So
Okay.
as the playoffs go on, and this is, to my knowledge, this is every sport.
Mm-hmm.
You get a bonus on top of your game check. So
Got you.
I think maybe I don't know for sure, but
The
I
amount got.
think I don't know the amount, but maybe the first round they may get like $10,000 a game. Or if they win if they win that round, they get whatever amount of money. Second round it increases. Third round increases. Championship it increases.
Okay,
So
I
and
got you.
football is the same way. Baseball is the same way.
But I think now that I'm thinking through it and talking through it, I think the NBA Finals championship, the end of the year championship, is going to mean more. But I think it's going to be. I think the in season tournament is going to be more hype because that's bragging rights. Like you have
Yeah,
that. I mean, because it's the same as. I don't know if they're gonna do it as if they don't take the trophy from the team that won it the year prior and give it to the next trophy, or they're gonna do it just like the finals trophy. They're gonna give everybody one. But
that's a
that
good
would be like
question too.
bragging rights. Like I hold on to this for a year and you gotta take it from me for you to actually get it. If that's how they
Right,
gonna do it, then cool. So then that's the bragging rights that you have for the entire season. Like, yo, we got this trophy until you take it from me next year and you can protect it. Something like that that you have an incentive to protect
right,
because that then can be passed around from one city to the next. And if you got it now, that's bragging rights. So I
right.
mean, I can kind of see the hype that can get around it over the next few years, but to me, it's still I don't see it making the fan base go any more crazy, but I can see how it could allow. You don't think so? You think so?
So this is my second question,
Okay, what's
and this
up?
is why I
What's
made
up?
this face, because I'm just going to ask the question: When does it become? When does it start to become a notch or a debate against a person's legacy? Because we're still in LeBron's era, so to speak, even though it's at the end. So we already know if he can't win this
In
cup
season
or whatever
championship,
it is,
right?
in
The
season
Players Cup.
championship, is that going to be a notch on his legacy when those that came before him did not have this? But the same thing goes with a 3-point shot. The all time leading scorers or greatest players, some of them did not have the advantage of having a 3-point shot, but we still consider the players that play now to be some of the best players, even though they have the 3-point shot and those before them did not. So
Right.
when does that become a notch against somebody for not winning it? You see what I'm saying? This is
Yeah, I
all
see. Yeah,
kind of
it's all
confusion
kind of
that
confusion.
comes.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I mean, so I think what they're doing is they're doing it like preseason tournaments, like NCAA preseason tournaments, something like that, kind of, sort of.
Mm,
And like, because I think a lot of leagues got preseason tournaments. But uh, what I meant by the fan base won't get, I don't think it's going to be much hype around it from the fan base, because I don't think it's going to force people like us to watch more. That's what I meant. But as far as debates, the debaters are gonna spin it however they want to spin it. You're gonna hear Stephen A. Smith talk about, oh well, LeBron been in the league for 3 years now that this in season tournament's been going on, and he ain't won one yet. But you got Jokic, he done won 3 in a row. Now he
yeah,
did, you know what I'm saying? Like, how can you make him the GOAT going against Michael Jordan when you really should be talking about Jokic? You won't hear somebody say something stupid like
yeah.
that. But I mean, it's gonna be hot takes around it for sure, because the media is gonna hype it, because the NBA is a hot topic all throughout the year regardless. But
It's a brand within itself,
it's a
and
brand
it
within
has
itself
to
for sure.
has to
So
have the machine behind it in order to continue to drive the profits and produce the money that it needs to produce in order to continue to move.
yeah,
And for other industries, the media and all that to benefit off of that. So yeah, media is definitely going to hype it
they
100%.
definitely gonna hype it. But I don't see it making the casual fan go crazy and want to watch. And it's gonna be, to me, it's gonna be the same as it is with the playoffs at the end of the year. People going, they're gonna watch a couple of games here or there, but it's gonna be like, okay, the playoffs starting, boom, now it's real basketball. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's what I think. But we'll just have to see, because this is gonna be the inaugural year of it, and we're gonna have to see how it goes. I'm gonna catch myself watching a little bit more now that so that too complex is a thing, and we're trying to blow this thing up. So hit the subscribe button.
100%.
But yeah. So I mean, I think it's gonna be cool. I just don't think it's gonna do what the NBA wants it to
I
do.
don't know, man. I don't know. I think I think differently than you do on this one, because I know for sure the money is going to have the players playing hard,
100%.
and because the players are playing hard, once that becomes well known amongst the casual fan or even the average fan of the NBA, more eyes are going to go to it, because that's when the competitive juices really start to come out. And
Okay, I can see that.
everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, did you see because in regular season, not to belabor this topic, but in the regular season, you have your players that go for 60 here and there, or 70. I think Dame had 70 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, he did that. It's talked about for a while, but then it's gone. But if you have something that you can look forward to, that that it's not going to be any 60, 70 games, because everybody's going to be playing defense. Everybody's trying to get to the next round, not trying to get knocked out in the regular season, and then they have something that they're playing for. You're definitely going to see more players playing. It's not going to be any load management unless they're truly, truly hurt. And then also, the fans will get involved with it, which will then in turn, it'll continue that cycle of, okay, the fans are watching, they're into it. The league is really going to push it. You're probably going to see something else introduced. And that was another thing I was thinking about. Okay, so they're introducing the in-season tournament. What else could they possibly introduce? Could we potentially see a 4-point shot introduced to the NBA? Could we potentially see, something different? because it just seems like Adam Silva is trying to leave his mark on the league. He already has done. I mean, we've seen the NBA introduce other stuff before. They have the play-in tournament now, and before the playoffs. So, what else are they going to introduce to the league? And I think those little things that when we initially see them, we don't think that it's interesting. They end up staying because with the play-in tournament, everybody's like, "Man, what is this?" Okay, but as we've seen, it stayed. We get interested because it gives you another game before the actual playoffs start, where everything means something. And then what was another one? The with the All-Star game, where the last quarter they're playing for you playing to a certain
To a
point.
certain point, yeah, to a certain number,
Yeah,
yeah.
to get a certain point. So I think it'll draw some interest.
It
And
may, it may. But see, let me
yeah,
ask this question then, because you know how in college, what I'm saying, you have a better chance to making it to the college football playoff if you won your conference championship, right? Or you had a better chance to make it to a bowl game. Say you were a automatic bid to go to a bowl game because you won your conference championship. So, do you think in the near future that the play-in tournament can take over the play-in? The preseason, no, the in-season tournament can take over the play-in, because say for instance,
that's a good question.
if
I don't.
the San Antonio Spurs they win the play-in tournament, but they only won 25 games in the season, do they say,
Mhm.
oh well, they won a play-in championship, then they should be able to go to the actual playoffs as well? Instead of having a play-in, then just use the in-season tournament as your barometer to say, okay, who's that next team that's going to make it on the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference? So if
That's
that
a good question and a
if
good scenario.
you know what I'm saying? So is that something that happens? But I mean, I definitely hope it pops off. I hope it blows up, because we definitely need a little bit more to start the season, or in the middle of at the beginning of the season, to where we can have a lot more excitement in the NBA, because we do see a lot of people load managing. We do see a lot of people taking games off. We do see a lot of coasting throughout the first half of the season before the All-Star break. So we do see a lot of that. So I hope it brings some excitement to it. I'm just skeptical. I'm just a little skeptical because I
Yeah,
don't see the point in it. That's the main reason. But I mean,
yeah,
I guess with the explanation and we talking through it, I guess I can kind of see how it could be something that people would look at, people will watch for sure.
yeah. I felt that way too. Like, what's the point of this? But then reading into the actual format of the tournament and the CBA
Mm-hmm.
as well,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. I think I see the point in it. Um, and this, you don't have to answer this. The other question that I had is, will the players get a break after that? Because it's a mid-season tournament.
Right.
It's going on November through December. So will
Mm-hmm.
they get a small break after that, like they do right before the All-Star break?
That's a good question. I would assume
Yeah,
that they would probably have like a week or so in between whenever the games get finished, because they're gonna be going hard. Because
right,
it's gonna be all November and then the first week of December.
right.
So I think they'll get a week. I think they'll get a week or
Yeah,
so, but we'll just have to see how it flows.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you for watching this video. If you've made it this far, there's a video on the screen right here. Go ahead and click on it. I think you're gonna love it. And also, you can find us on all your major streaming platforms, wherever you find your podcasts.